Monday, December 9th. Already December. We are hybrid today, meaning we are both in person and online. So we'll begin with the reading of the preamble.
Good morning. Xavier, I'm just going to read it off the screen if you don't mind. Compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976. Notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest will be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak in a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak on a particular matter have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead and call the roll.
Sure. Ms. Roca?
Present.
Ms. Wilson? Present. Mr. Madison is not present yet. Ms. Holzer? Present. And Ms. Faith?
Present.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum with 4 members this morning.
You are 4-person announcement.
Sure. This statement is for the appellants. Today we have 4 members at the table. In order for a motion to pass, we must have a majority vote, which in this case is 3. If you do not achieve the majority vote, the variance is denied. So at this time, the appellants can request a postponement to the future when we will have 5 people. We may have 5 people soon. We haven't been made aware of his absence yet. So it is up to the appellants if they would like to postpone at this time, if they feel uncomfortable moving forward with the chance of a tied vote.
Do we have any appellants in the room that wish to postpone at this time? Okay. Do we have any appellants online that wish to postpone at this time?
Madam Chair, I did not see any activity online.
All right. Thank you. All right, Karen, then we'll move forward. Do we have any postponements or withdrawals?
We have 1 postponement this morning. This is for Rocky River. That's calendar number 24-200 at 4622 Rocky River Drive. Cleveland Muslim Community Center proposed to erect a 1-story, 3,000 square foot, 2-tenant retail space and 16 space accessory parking in a 2-family residential district. The City Planning Commission is requesting a postponement at this time for, I believe, design review. Does that sound correct, Xavier? Mr. Lullis here as well.
Yeah, I did that one. Sure.
Good morning, Chair, Nate Wall, City Planning. Yes, we requested a postponement to allow time for the applicant to go through design review. I believe the councilman also would like them to go to the community meeting first.
Correct. Right. That was my understanding as well. How much time do you think you're going to need?
To the chair, at least a month.
Right.
But we don't want to hold them up too long, so.
Okay, but we do have a community meeting to
Yes.
address as well. So, okay. I think we're probably better to about 6 weeks.
So that would be, we do not have a hearing on the 20th. So the 27th is the next date.
Okay, so calendar number 24-0200 is postponed to January 27th of 2025. And let the record show that Mr. Madison has arrived, so we now have a 5-member board.
And to anyone that is online or in the room, We won't be taking testimony for Rocky River this morning. We will send out another letter. So if you received a letter in the mail, you'll receive another letter in the mail approximately 10 days before the next hearing. And that's all that we have for withdrawals and postponements.
Okay, super. Mr. Bay, no council people.
Correct, Madam Chair, I do not see any council people present.
Okay, all right. All right, Mr. Madison, welcome. Would you like to go ahead with your reading?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you all for being here today. Just as we talk about the order of the hearing, the description of the cases will be read into the record. Following that, individuals will be sworn in to be able to speak on the matter. History of the property will be read, followed by the legal standard. And then at that time, your project team will be able to present your proposal. Board members will have the opportunity to ask questions. Those in favor of the project will have the opportunity to speak, followed by those who would have opposition to the particular project. Those in opposition of the project, again, will have the opportunity to speak. The secretary will read any written correspondence, followed by the city planning commission and their recommendations. If there are any council members present, you'll also have the opportunity to give comments at that time. Following that, the project team may respond with any comments, questions that they would like to share at that moment, followed by board members with any additional questions. After all of that has taken place, the motion will be made and the secretary will call the roll call on the vote. Again, the rules of the hearing, please speak clearly for our record, our court reporter, so that we can capture your names. Only speak at one time, one voice at one time. Do not speak unless you're recognized by the chair. And please raise your hand to be recognized, especially if you're also tuning in on the Zoom. All conversations must be directed through the chair. This isn't a back and forth proceeding between two individuals. And please hold your comments until the speaker is done speaking. At the request of the chair, anytime during the point of this proceeding, we may request to limit conversation to 2 minutes. With that, that will be enough.
Super, thank you. In a point of note, we have had a request. I want to make sure that everyone is clear. No one speaks without stating their name first. Our court reporter, who will raise her hand, is recording everything for the record. And we have had some issues with people speaking and not stating their name. So it is very difficult for her to record the transcript of the meeting. I see that we have a representative from Councilman Griffin's office. So we'll proceed with that case. First, if you wanna step forward. Is he joining us? Okay. All right, first case up. Let's do introductions quickly. Do we have Ms. Leonard on with us?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do.
All right, Ms. Leonard, we'll start with you if you'll do introductions, please.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair. Shannon, Chief Zoning Administrator.
Super, thank you, Mr. Bay.
Hello, my name is Xavier Bay. I'm representing city planning and ProTech.
Great. Ms. Kukla?
I'm Liz Kukla, I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
All right, do we have legal present
I do not see Mary Cornelli online.
or anyone else? All right, no. All right, our representative from the legal department is absent at the moment, but maybe joining us, we'll see. All right. As a courtesy to city council, when they're present or staff member, we move their case to the top of the agenda. So we'll begin today with calendar number 24-170.
Our first case is calendar number 24-170. This is at 2075 Murray Hill Road. Lena G LLC owner proposes to install a 6-foot tall fence in the C1 multifamily residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the legally codified ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record of which there is one. This case was postponed from October 28th at the request of Landmarks Commission to allow time for the appellant to work through the design review process. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Holder. I'll go ahead and swear in all who are present for this case. If there anyone in the room who's present for this case, please come forward to the table.
You may need to bring your chairs up with you or a chair.
Yeah. Where do I go?
Just come up here, either end, either side. There is one chair here.
Right, I will give you this to be oath, you swear or affirm.
Excuse me one second. Is he for?
Correct, Madam Chair, Carl Rufus.
Landmarks Commission.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe Carl, if Mr. Burgess, if you want to pull up a chair, because we're going to hear this case first. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
I recognize the face, so we wanted to make sure we are included in.
okay, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? You raise your right hand, reply with I do, state your name, spell your name, give your address, start.
I, James Shire, James, JMESSHIRER, swear to tell the truth.
Yes, and state your address.
396 Park Road, Painesville Township, Ohio.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Levita Parker, LAVETA PARKER, Council President, Executive Assistant. Address is 601 Lakeside Avenue, room 220, and I do.
Thank you.
Barbara Cox, BARBARA, COX.
I'm sorry, can I get the first one?
Barbara, BARBARA, COX. Address is 2071 Murray Hill Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44106.
And I think you said 2075, is that?
Which said one.
Yeah,
Mine is 2071, but
okay,
the address that wants to put the fence up is
Okay.
2075.
all right, just wanted to make sure.
Did you say I do?
I do.
Okay, thank you so much. And
I do. Carl Brundis, 601 Lakeside, with member staff.
thank you so much. Is there anyone online wishing to speak in this matter? I'm not hearing anything, so back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. All right,
Madam Chair, if we go before we go any further, could we ask Mr. Brunges if he is asking for postponement today?
yes,
Just, I wasn't made aware of anything like that, so.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is located in the Little Italy Historic District. We have made multiple attempts to pull this through our design review process, which is required by this property.
right,
We have received no response, and we need to put this through our process before it should even be here, quite frankly. So we would ask for our process, and they're more than willing to walk applicants over to our office to get them where they need to be to get through this process.
okay,
But it needs to go through that before it's here for any variance.
okay, super, all right. Does the council office have any comment with that, with regard to that?
Oh, no, I don't know. I'm actually Council President is supporting the whole
Okay,
project.
all right,
But he's okay with that.
yeah, okay, all right. All right, so we have a request from the Landmarks Commission to postpone calendar number 24-170. Landmarks will, are you the actual appellant, Barbara?
No,
Scott? You are? Okay, all right. So Mr. Brunch is from the Landmarks Commission. All right, and you need to go through that process. So as he offered, he will take you across the hall
Okay.
and get you started in that process, okay? All right, excellent. How much time do you need?
It's all upon how they get us the information. So
Okay.
Give us a month,
Month,
I would say.
I think it's adequate,
To get through.
Yeah.
all right,
If there's variances needed, it might be a little bit longer. So actually, let's go to just because we only have, so two, goes to the end of January. Because the variances you're getting is spoken in the resolution, so we'll have those.
okay, all right. So it will need commission review,
Yes.
so we need to look for that. All right, so it looks like we're looking at 8 weeks, Ms. Coupon?
That will be January 27th.
Okay. All right, calendar number 24-170 is postponed to January 27th of 2025 at the request of the Landmarks Commission. Super, all right, so you'll see Mr. Pruntis.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
Am I finished for the day?
If you're not part of the appellant party, then you are finished for today.
the appellant part, meaning,
You're a neighbor, right?
right,
And you were just gonna make statements about the project, right? Yeah, so you're done for today.
oh,
We'll send you another letter in the mail 10 days before the hearing. If you can't make it, you can leave your comments with us and we can read them into the record. But we're not gonna hold a public hearing today.
Okay? Liz, do you have a card on you?
yes.
So you can go ahead and email your comments to me. If you can't make it to January 27th.
What's it, January
27th.
27th? I thought they already went through.
All right. Okay. We have been joined by our legal advisor. You want to just say hello?
Mary Cordon, Law Department.
Thank you very much. All right. No other counsel then, right?
Correct.
All right. We'll move back to the top of the agenda, 24-183 then.
Our next case is calendar number 24-183. This is at 2010 Torbenson Drive. GNFI LLC owner proposes to establish a type A care in an A1 one-family residential district. The owner appeals to relief from a strict application of the Cleveland codified ordinances stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. That or paper.
Anybody in the room present for this case? Right, anybody online present for this case? Here we go. All right, I see your hand raised. I'm gonna go ahead and swear you in. You swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Please raise your right hand to reply what I do, state your name, spell your name, and give your address. We can't hear you if you're speaking.
Is this for 2010 Torbenson?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I'm struggling to hear you. What do you need me to do?
Yes. Are you the appellant for this case?
Yes,
Okay, I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? You'll raise your right hand, reply with I do, state your name, spell your name, and give your address.
okay. I do, Kelsey Watkins, 2010 Torbenson Drive, Cleveland, Ohio, 44112.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Rochelle, I see that your hand is raised. Are you present for this case?
Yes, I am.
Okay, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name, spell your name, and give your address.
Rochelle Gathright, RICHELLEGATHRIGHT, 2015 Torbenson Drive.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone else online present for this matter? All right, hearing none, back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Gulon, history of the property?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. We only found in our Records Administration Office that in 1952, a permit was issued to erect a private frame garage. There are no variances on file, and then in 2017, there was a certificate of disclosure issued stating that the authorized use of the property is as single family. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we have the legal standard, please?
Madam Chair, members of the Board, appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the minimum distance requirement of the requirements of the zoning code. To obtain use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Super, thank you so much. All right, Ms. Watkins, is this, are you the appellant here today?
I'm sorry, I'm struggling to hear you. Am I the what?
Are you the appellant?
Yes.
All right. Can you hear okay?
Um, I'm trying to make out what you're saying. I'm trying to jump on the web one, the app. So I'm trying to make out what you're saying to the best of my ability.
All right. Mr. Bay, for the purposes of this case, why don't we move the mic a little closer? And then maybe she can get hooked up on the WebEx, so. All right, is that any better, Ms. Watkins?
Yeah, that's slightly better. Thank you.
All right, great. We're down to one microphone, so we moved it closer. So hopefully you can hear us better. All
Okay,
right.
thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah. Okay, so you're looking to establish a type A daycare in this single family home. Tell us what you want to do. Have you operated a daycare before? What are your hours of operation going to be? Give us some details.
Okay, so I haven't operated a daycare before, but my family owns a daycare center in Euclid, so I've been in the childcare field for since I've basically graduated high school, so I know the ins and outs of the childcare industry. And I just anticipate on having my hours be 6 a.m. to midnight and caring for children under a type A license in my home.
All right, do you own this home?
I do not. I'm renting.
You're renting. All right.
Mhm.
And tell us about staff.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry to interrupt you.
So it would be myself along with one other person.
All right.
Madam Chair, we do not have a letter on file authorizing the appellant to act on behalf of the owner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right. Okay,
I'm-
Ms. Watkins, did you
Yes.
obtain a letter from the property owner, your landlord, authorizing you to act on their behalf?
I have communicated with them and they have given me permission. I'm just waiting for them to send me the letter and the articles of their LLC. I'm just waiting on them to give me that information, but they have given me permission. I just have to wait until they give me the paperwork necessary.
It's up to you, Madam Chair. We have in the past proceeded.
Yeah, we can conditionally, but
If you so choose to approve today, we can hold it until we receive the letter.
all right, I'll take input from the board. Ms. Roca?
I'm fine with moving forward, provided that we get that documentation in place.
Right, that'll be conditioned. Ms. Wilson?
Same.
Okay. Okay, all right. Ms. Watkins, the board has decided that we're gonna go ahead and move forward and hear testimony. It will be a condition, should we choose to approve this, that you submit that documentation in order to receive the variance. All right?
Okay. Thank you.
So you're gonna be open from 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, and it's gonna be yourself and one other person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tell us how you intend to handle, the drop off and pickup of the children.
So the parents could park in my driveway and walk along the sidewalk, and the front door would be the drop off and pickup entrance for the children, and so forth and so forth and so on.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and you submitted plans.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I appreciate that you had them drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mr. Bay, comment?
Ariel Washington, sorry, my name is Xavier Bay, representing city planning. Ariel Washington, the neighborhood planner for this area, is present and has her hand raised online.
Okay.
So allow her to.
She's not sworn.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Was that I couldn't hear what he said. What was said?
I just said, Ariel, that you weren't sworn in.
I apologize. I couldn't get my audio on to swear
Okay,
in at that time. You moved on, but Ariel Washington, neighborhood city planner, 601 Lakeside Avenue, I do.
great. Thank you. All right, go ahead and make your statement.
Again, the hand was raised to swear in. The only thing I have for this, I did reach out to the appellant and ask if she could provide any community meeting, any letters of support from neighbors. No community meetings or letters of support were available. A meeting was not had. I also provided the information to the council person to get support from them, but I'm not aware if the appellant has reached out to the council person. And I did learn that there will be 12 children at this daycare with the 2 personnel. So those were the only pieces of information that I was able to gather. That's
All
it.
right. Excellent. Thank you very much. Ms. Cooper, did we receive any correspondence?
Double check, I didn't see any. No, we did not receive anything.
Okay. All right. Any questions, board?
Madam Chair, I do have a question. For the appellant, can you just confirm that 12 children is the accurate number, please? And then also, can you please describe what hardship or difficulty you will face if this variance is not granted today?
I heard the first half, but I missed the second half of the question. Can you please repeat it?
The second half of the question is, can you describe the hardship or difficulty that you'll face if you don't get this variance today?
If I don't get the variance today, I'm still in the process of getting everything licensed. So getting the variance today would prolong me being able to get the area license because I have to have a place to get licensed. I have to have a location in order for the state to come out and inspect and approve licensing. So that would be the hardship. And then can you repeat the first half of the question one more time? My apologies.
It's okay. Is it 12 children? Is that accurate? What Ms. Washington said, 12 children?
Yes, that's all I would be able to be licensed for. Yes, it's 12 children.
And what are the ages of the children? Is that unknown?
I would be accepting 18 months up to 12 years of age. So toddlers to school ages.
Thank you. That's all for me.
Okay. Anyone else?
Madam Chair, I do have a question. Ms. Watkins, do you live in the neighborhood or in the property?
Yes, I live in the property.
Have you had any conversations with your neighbors about what you're planning on doing?
I have not, no.
Would you be comfortable having conversations with your neighbors and or holding a community meeting?
Absolutely, yeah. I would be open to that.
I would suggest postponing until after she has those conversations.
All right. Okay. Are you in agreement?
Should I start
Wait a
a
minute.
community?
Okay.
Madam Chair, somebody has their.
All right. Go ahead, Rochelle.
Good morning. I just wanted to be present for the meeting. My parents are retired. They moved into this home in 1989. And they are the homeowners of 2015 Torbenson Drive. I just wanted to and so I'm speaking on their behalf today. I just wanted to share a few things from a residential perspective. We already for quite some years now have had Carl B. Stokes Daycare, which is located at the bottom of Torbenson. as you probably can see, we live at the top of Torbenson. So we have a lot of traffic on Torbenson because of the Carl B. Stokes daycare. And then Torbenson already is just a busy street. It is a cut through street for a lot of people that are trying to get up to the South Euclid area coming off of the freeway. And the other thing I wanted to share is we already 2 doors down from this address, 210. 2 doors from 210, we already have a private owned daycare. And when that petition came around and they had conversations with the people in the vicinity of the where the daycare was going to be, they told us one thing, and then once the daycare got approved and it ran out of this home, it became like the traffic for the daycare, it's a lot. And sometimes, and I'm just being honest today, okay, sometimes these parents pick their kids up and they have disagreements with the staff, and you can overhear the arguing. I understand that there's a hardship at hand, but I just want to speak to the for the residents, especially my parents, who are up in age. It creates a lot of traffic, and to the possibility of having another private daycare 2 doors down from already a private daycare, that's a bit much.
And the Carl B. Stokes daycare is down at the end of the street?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Bay, are you able to highlight that on the map?
This map extent, this is Xavier Bay from City Planning. This map extent doesn't show you the Carl B. Stokes daycare.
All right.
If you see my cursor, it's going to be another block in the top
In that
right
direction
of the screen.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so it is like I said, at the bottom of Torbenson before you get to the light, right? Before you get to Euclid Avenue. It sits on Torbenson. I'm coming from a place of the traffic that it creates. Correct. And we already have a private daycare that is 2 doors down from 210. And then 210 is trying to establish a private daycare.
Right. Okay. Mr. Bay or Ms. Washington, do you have any record of this other daycare being 2 doors down?
Madam Chair, this is Xavier Bay. I do not. I have to do further research to see this.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not something that came onto your radar.
No.
Or Ms. Washington's radar. We're doing this. Okay.
The daycare that's 2 doors down from 210 has a sign in the yard that's been there as long as the ladies had the daycare, and it says that she is I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, is it called 5-star step? So she's been approved. Her ratings are so good that she's allowed to have this metal sign in her yard letting you know she's a 5-star daycare through this some kind of step program with Cleveland.
Right.
And just another thing, that lady ended up moving out of that house and into another house, and so that house on Torbenson is nothing but a daycare.
Okay.
But that when they start these things, they don't really communicate what it's going to be long term, because then you would have neighbors that wouldn't agree to it.
Right. Okay. All right. Does that change your opinion at all, putting this in context?
No, Madam Chair, I think postponement makes sense.
Okay. All right. Okay. Are you in agreement at this end?
With the postponement being, yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. Ms. Kukla?
So Madam Chair, do you want to give them 30 days? We would be looking at approximately January 13th.
Well, it sounds to me like they still need to do a lot of legwork in terms of contacting council, CDC, community meeting, legal documents from the landlord. So let's give them,
First week of February would be February 3rd.
okay. All right. Ms. Watkins, at the recommendation of the board members, given the fact that you've got a number of moving parts that aren't in place, we're gonna postpone your case to allow you time to get things organized.
Okay.
So we have a date of, what did you say, February?
February 3rd.
Okay. So we're gonna postpone your case to February 3rd, 2025. Mr. Bay is going to give you the contact information for Ms. Washington in the chat, so be sure that you capture that, if you would please, Mr. Bay.
Yes, Madam Chair, I believe they're both already in communication.
They're in communication, all right. So Ms. Watkins, what you'll need to do is you'll need to work with Ms. Washington. You'll need to get in contact with your council person. And who's the CDC for this area? Do we know?
I just Ariel Washington to collaborate if there is an active CDC in this area.
Okay, all right. So, so Ms. Washington will, and the council office will help you facilitate a community meeting, and you need to get those documents from your landlord, and we'll see you back on February 3rd.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent.
Sorry, the address is 2002.
2002. Okay, Mr. Bang, at the request of Ms. Wilson, looks, and Ms. Holzer has looked up on the map. It looks like it's 2002 of that street. That is the location of the other daycare. So if we can get confirmation and information on that, please.
Understood.
Super. I still got a very raspy voice, don't I? I'm not shaping this thing. All right, we'll move on. 24-199.
Our next case is calendar number 24-199. This is at 6817 Bridge Avenue. Anthony Dugman, apologies if I butcher anyone's name. Owner proposes to change the use from a 2-family dwelling to a 3-family dwelling in a B1 2-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the legally codified ordinances stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Ms. Poser. Is there anyone in the room present for this case?
Good morning, Anthony Dugman, present.
Okay, perfect. I will go ahead and swear in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your right hand and reply what I do. State your name, spell your name, and give your address. I'll start with you.
Sure. Good morning. Nate Ball, Cleveland City Planning Commission, NATELULL. 601 Lakeside Avenue, I do.
And Anthony, go ahead and swear in as well, please.
I do, Anthony Dugman, 6817 Bridge Avenue.
Okay, show your name for the report, please.
Apologies. ANTHONY DUGHMAN.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online wishing to speak in this matter? All right, here now back to you, Madam Chair.
Super. We'll take history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1905, a permit was issued to erect a 2-story dwelling. And so that was in July of that year, and then in September of that year, a permit was issued to erect a 2-story dwelling and store. An addition was made to the property in 1919. Then in 1955, a permit was issued to replace and remodel the storefront. There are no variances on file, and we did see that in the more recent history in 2023, rental registration was issued to the property, and status states that it's about to expire. That's all that I have that's relevant, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll go to legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, the appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of zoning code. Board of Zoning Appeals, upon prescribing proper safeguards to preserve the character of the neighborhood, may grant special permits for the remodeling of existing dwelling houses or the erection of row houses to provide for more than two dwelling units, provided that, number one, the square feet of the lot area to be allotted to each dwelling unit is in accordance with the area regulations included in chapter 355. The dwelling units to be created will not be smaller than 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. Number 3, there will be no exterior evidence that a remodeled dwelling house is occupied by more than 2 families, except such as may be permitted by the board. Number 4, the building, when altered or erected and when occupied, will conform to all applicable provisions of the building and housing codes, and as the Commissioner of Building and the Commissioner of Housing so certify. And number 5, garage space or hard surface and drained parking space will be provided on the premises for the cars of the families to be accommodated on the premises at the rate of not less than 1 car per family.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Dugman, you are the owner and you have a list of variances that you are seeking. Tell us what's going on with this property and what you expect to do with it.
Sure. I purchased the property about 2.5 years ago, I believe. The previous owner, and I apologize in advance for my condition. If you're not able to make out what I'm saying, just please have me repeat it. My voice is strange. So the previous owner, I believe they owned the property for somewhere around 50 years. So I'm not doing any work to the property. It was converted to 3 units decades ago, and I'm just trying to bring it up to legal standard. So I'm not doing any work. It was done decades ago.
Okay. And how many utility meters are there for the building?
3 of each. There are 3 gas, 3 electric.
All right. All right, Mr. Love, we'll go to you.
Sure. Good morning, Madam Chair, Nate Wall, City Planning. From a zoning perspective, we're generally supportive of 2-family conversions to 3-family. It seems like in this case, it was fortunately legally converted at some point to a 3-family dwelling unit. I don't believe that reflects the intention of the owner here today, trying to make a legal 3-family unit.
Right.
Additionally, the building is, the ground floor was at one point a storefront, but
right.
The zoning here wouldn't even allow for that, given its 2-family zoning status. So we're supportive of it. We hope that the applicant intends to make some interior modeling choices if it's not been touched for a long time, and to comply with all building code regulations.
Right. It does seem to be a building that has an opportunity for improvements, both interior and exterior. And an unusual building that is past its use for its original intention. So, all right, board questions?
Madam Chair, I just want the appellant to confirm that they meet all the standards and the legal standards. So for example, the dwelling units will not be smaller than 2 rooms and a bathroom, etc.
This is Anthony Dugman. Is this my opportunity to speak?
Go ahead, Mr. Dugman.
Okay, great. The current unit that is occupied, the rental registration on the 3rd floor, is a 1-bedroom unit. This is the one that's currently occupied with the only rental registration that the building has. The 2 additional units, the 1st floor, which would be replaced in lieu of the storefront, and the 2nd floor, those are both 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom units. So the additional units would cover that requirement of bedroom standards. Furthermore, at the last variance, Marcos Torres from the planning department, the building department, told me that the property has parking credits, existing parking credits, so I would not need to add more parking spaces. And as far as all the rest of the variants, I'm in compliance. But I'm here to play ball. Let me know what needs to happen.
Mr. Law, can you confirm that parking situation?
Sorry, was there a question there?
He said that he was told by the building department that he had a parking credit, so he fulfilled the parking requirement.
I'm unaware of that.
Okay, Mr. Bay, you know anything?
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I believe Shannon Leonard could also speak more to this. This property is located in the TOD zone,
All right.
Transit Oriented Development
Okay.
Zone, which nullifies the.
Yep, excellent. Great, super. All right,
Madam Chair, I do have letters. Would you like me to read them into the
all right.
record?
Let me just, Mr. Dugman, your property falls in a TOD, a transit oriented design mode, district. So that also, relieves the burden of having parking for you. All right, we'll go to correspondence.
Thank you. The first one I read is from Councilwoman Spencer. She states that she shares concerns of the residents. She states that Mr. Anthony Dugman has owned the property since September 2021, has done little to improve its condition and appearance since that time. It is her understanding that Mr. Dugman is a California-based investor who occasionally spends time in Cleveland and another investment property on Wakefield Avenue. It would be appropriate for the Board of Zoning Appeals to inquire with Mr. Dugman as to how often he spends time in Cleveland and also what his intended use is for the property. For instance, full-time, short-term rentals, such as Airbnbs, are not allowed under the current city code. That again is from Councilwoman Jen Spencer.
Okay.
The next one is from Jason and Christopher Utrago and Matthew Smith, and they are at 1686 West 69th Street. We are writing to express our concerns regarding the property at 6817 Bridge Avenue scheduled for today. As property owners, they live directly across the street. The variance request seeks permission to add a third residential unit. They believe the variance should be carefully considered in light of the property's current state. Primary concern is the property's ongoing maintenance and upkeep. Current owners' renovation efforts have been inconsistent and resulting in subpar workmanship and overall decline in the property's appearance. The yard is frequently neglected and overgrown, often requiring intervention from neighbors approaching the owner. It's often the neighbors that will pull the tall weeds right between the building and sidewalk. They would assume that that prior to granting the variance, the building underwent regular construction inspections and occupancy approvals given the current tenant space. During the renovation, multiple contractor crews undertook different tasks. Many of the crews will be on site for only a few weeks at a time, leaving concerns that the lack of consistent oversight would result in missed and overlooked steps. Additionally, early this year, current tenant had to move their possessions out of the basement of the building to allow for mold remediation. It is their hope that this and any other remediation of environmental hazards were confirmed prior to the review of this request. They're apprehensive about the potential parking implications of adding a third unit, given the limited off-street parking and the high demand for on-street parking in the neighborhood. The increased number of vehicles associated with 3 units could exacerbate existing parking issues. I have another one from Nathaniel and Lauren Murray, and they are at 1695 West 69th Street. They state that our home does not have a driveway or off-street parking of any kind. Even though we are a 2-person household that only owns 1 vehicle, we still struggle to reliably find street parking. We're concerned that the addition of a third unit would only further complicate the parking in the neighborhood. The property is highly visible in the corner of our little section of the neighborhood, and the yard has never been adequately maintained. The stop-start nature of renovation efforts is also concerning. We were surprised to receive a letter from the board regarding this property because the project seems to have languished for years. We've largely written off seeing it turned into an attractive property that the owner is serious about. We enjoy close relationships with many of our neighbors and indeed are always ready to welcome new ones. We communicate with one another and share interest in seeing our neighborhood thrive. The community we feel deserves respect and consideration for those who are seeking to make money here. The homes that make up our historic district deserve to be restored with great care and appreciation. Again, that was from Nathaniel and Lauren Murray. The final letter is from Jessica Mullen and Callie Creed, and their address is 1682 West 69th Street. They're writing to express their concerns regarding property. Upkeep of the property is bare minimum at best. The past summer, the yard was cleaned up approximately twice. There's a strong sulfur smell emanating from the basement that can be smelled throughout the neighborhood. When renovating, the owner asked neighbors to lie and asked if work was being done on the property because the work wasn't permitted by the city. Contractors told neighbors that the owner told them to put drywall over mold in the basement. The tenants that have been living in the building are involved with drug activity, many aggressive, intoxicated men, fighting, police calls, and ambulances. Free parking in this neighborhood is already limited, and adding more residents will worsen the problem. Adding a third unit to the property has the potential to adversely affect neighbors even more than it currently does. Thank you. That's all of the letter said.
All right. All right. All right, Mr. Duckman, I hope that you heard the correspondence that the secretary read. It raises some questions. Several of the neighbors have addressed the parking issue, but again, you are in a TOD area, so we'll move on to the other issues. Tell us your intent for rental with regard to short-term and long-term.
Sure. So first of all, that was loaded. There was a lot of information there. I'd like to set the premise that I'm not some California investor that doesn't care. As mentioned earlier, I have been around the corner on Wakefield for several years, and everybody in that neighborhood knows me. And so I know there's going to be follow-up after this, and I encourage people to ask who I am, because all these previous things said make me sound like some kind of bad person. So let's set that premise. So this is long-term rentals. This is not something this is long-term rentals. Most investors in this area put Band-Aids all over properties, and that's how investors do it. That is not my strategy. I'm not some slumlord. And the only way to know that is to see the other property on Wakefield and the kind of work that we do. So I hope that addresses that concern. This is
All right,
long-term vision too.
So to just recap, you are a local resident, and you reside full-time in the neighborhood, correct? You are not.
Part-time, half.
Okay, part-time half. What half?
Back and forth. I'm all year. It's not like one half or another.
Okay. So where else do you reside then?
California.
California. All right. So you do have residents in California, but you also have residents here. All right. And you're stating for the record, you have no intent to do short-term rental. Your intent is to do long-term rental in all 3 units.
Just for the record, short-term rental sounds like Airbnb or leases less than 1 year. Is this correct?
That is correct.
Yes. For the record, there will be no leases less than 1 year term.
All right. Okay. Speak to us about the mold remediation and the complaints of the odor.
Great question. So the mold remediation, the previous owners, lots of neglect. There was no airflow in the basement. And I find it kind of weird that they're talking about mold. None of those other people have even been in there. So feel free to go in there now. There are fans, there's airflow. So the mold is gone. The odor is not from the mold. The odor is from the sewer, which is right on the corner of Bridge and 69th. There's a constant odor coming from the sewer, not the property. And I've actually complained to the city about that. I believe there are dead animals in there. So it's not mold.
Okay.
But yes, and I'm glad that somebody brought this up, because there's a nasty odor coming from the sewer, not my property. And hopefully the city will get in there and do something about it, which I've been asking for over a year.
Okay. All right. So you stated that you purchased the property 2.5 years ago. And based on the correspondence that was read into the record, there are complaints about the appearance of the property, the lot, landscaping maintenance, the appearance of the building, the exterior maintenance. So speak to us about those issues.
Here in California, I am a beekeeper because bees are great. And federally, or just across the country, uh, we are asked to not mow the lawns through May to give bees a chance for the flowers to come in, because I know this is unrelated to properties and zoning, but we have a national issue with bees. And I told the neighbors that. So I said in May I'll cut it, and they're just not happy with that. And so ever since after May, the lawn is maintained. But if it's an issue and nobody cares about bees, I have no problem cutting the lawn right when it needs to be.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, there was one more question there. I don't want to skip over that. Did I miss one?
Is there any other questions?
I do have one question for clarity.
Go ahead.
So the second point in the legal standard requires that the dwelling unit would not have smaller than 2 rooms and 1 bathroom. I know that you mentioned that the unit on the 3rd floor has 1 bedroom. Can you tell us overall how many rooms are on that 3rd floor?
How many? Okay, so the third unit is a strange one because it starts on the 2nd floor. So when you enter the 3rd unit on the 2nd floor itself, when you walk in, that is the kitchen and the eating area. And then from there, there's stairs that go up to the 3rd floor, and that's the rest of the unit. So the 3rd unit starts on the 2nd floor. There are 2 rooms, kitchen, eating area. And when you go up to the 3rd floor, there's bedroom, living room, and bathroom. So I guess 3 more rooms on the 3rd floor.
All right, thank you. And then my second question would be around, if you don't get the request, can you describe whether there will be a hardship or any difficulty if you don't get granted today?
Hardship, difficulty, no, but it's just I'm trying to make right what hasn't been done for decades. There was one more point, maybe I should bring this up, since we talked about mold. I heard somebody say lye and drywall over something in the basement. There is no drywall in the basement. I don't know who lying. Heard about contractors, adequate contractors. It's not, it almost sounds like I didn't do whatever somebody's saying. There wasn't lots of work there because there wasn't lots of work done. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right. Well, thanks for addressing that point. All right. Did you have anything further? Good. Ms. Roca?
For the record, I encourage the city inspector to come because that's not how I am. So please send somebody to verify that there is no drywall in the basement. So I'm not sure where the disgruntled neighbor is coming from.
Okay. All right. Ms. Roca, anything else?
Mr. Me.
All right. Mr. Manson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to, for my own confirmation, the home is already currently a 3-family home. It was already conformed to that. It's just now we're going through to officially acknowledge and approve that it's a 3-family dwelling versus the 2. But the work's already been done to make.
Correct, right? Based on the floor plans that he submitted.
Okay.
In his testimony, and there being 3 utility meters for each, a set for each unit.
That's all my questions. So
Yeah. And you confirm that, Mr. Duggan, right?
I believe we're talking 3 meters and floor plans. Yes.
Right. And the house was converted years ago by the previous owners to 3 units, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Madam Chair, did he state whether it was fully occupied?
You can ask him that.
To the appellant, are all units fully occupied right now?
I'm sorry?
Are all units fully occupied?
They are not, because I only have the 1 rental registration.
So there's 1 tenant currently?
Correct.
Okay.
Pending what we do. Right. Okay. Ms. Olson. Go ahead.
Liz, just to confirm, in your research, there were no open or outstanding code violation notices that you saw.
We did see
I do apologize for not reading all of them. I didn't have all of the details.
Or him.
Actually, no, there's just one from 2011 in this case that is closed, I apologize. And that precedes his ownership, yeah, okay, all right. All right. Okay. Mr. Dugman, I appreciate that you're a beekeeper. That is something that I am, aware of. I also am aware of No Mow May. But you are currently, this property is on the radar of city council. And so, and we've had, a number of, correspondence read into the record by neighbors. You know, the level of truthfulness is always subjective. But I would say that, given the fact that you're before us and the fact that you're now on the radar of the council person, efforts to maintain the property and the exterior of the building probably need to be ratcheted up. And I would encourage you to get in contact with the council member, the council person, and the local CDC, and discuss your strategy for the No Mow May and the yard upkeep as it relates to the bee population. All right? So we're going to move forward. I'll entertain a motion, board. Go ahead, Mr. Madison. You're leaning forward the most.
Madam Chair, motion to approve calendar number 24-199 based on today's testimony and recommendations from city attorney.
Okay, thank you. Second, please.
Board Member Holzer, second.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. We'll call the vote, Ms. Lupa.
Ms. Roca? No. Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Mr. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Bates?
Yes.
Calendar number 24-199 is granted. Ratified next Monday. We will send the appellant a letter. He can contact us next Wednesday for further instruction.
Mr. Lowell, it looks like there's an opportunity to maybe work with the community on the beekeeping issue and the mowing. If you want to work on that, that'd be great. Appreciate that. Are you with us for the other?
Let me with you guys for a while.
I thought so. It's Spencer Day. All right, super.
If I may, Chair,
Yes.
about the beekeeping issue, the neighbors they just, nobody else knew about No Mow May, and they called me a liar, and they said that I'm bringing down the neighborhood. So I know this is unrelated, but No Mow May is important, and I guess most people don't know about it. I don't know if we can do any more awareness, or if there is no awareness, I will start mowing in May because
So,
people just
Mr.
don't
Duggan,
know.
excuse me for interrupting, but I just made a comment to Mr. Lull, who is the city planner for your neighborhood. He will give you his contact information. He'll be contacting you. And we see this as an opportunity, particularly since you are a beekeeper. There might be an opportunity here to educate the community and do some community outreach on that. So you'll be in contact with Mr. Lull will be in contact with you. All right?
This is great. Thank you. I'd like to
Okay,
collaborate.
super. Thank you. All right, moving on. 24-202.
Our next case is calendar number 24-202. This is at 1325 West 69th Street. And again, I apologize for butchering his name. Denny Matthew proposes to erect a rear two-story frame single-family residence on the second floor of a two-car garage with an existing single-family on the front half of the lot, located in the B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from strict application of the legal codified ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. Is there anyone in the room present for this case? Please come forward. Good morning. I'll go ahead and swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? You raise your right hand and reply with I do. State your name, spell your name, and give your address.
I do. Denny Mateo, 1321 West 69th Street.
Thank you. Will you be speaking as well?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and swear you in. You swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name, spell your name, and your address.
Nicole, Nicole, Kufold, Kufold, dash Mateo, Matheou, 1321 West 69.
Okay, thank you. What will be next?
Nate Walensky, City Planning, 601 Lakeside Avenue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone online wishing to speak in this matter? Right here, none, back to you, Madam Chair.
Super. Ms. Kukrow, history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in zoning since 1929. The most pertinent information, Madam Chair, is that in 2018, this board granted a variance to build a 1.5-story, 28 by 34 wood frame garage with second floor storage on a 3720 square foot lot in a B1 2-family residential district. The board granted the variance. It was ratified on August 21st. There were no conditions placed on the variance other than the appellant needed to show proof of lot consolidation, which we received a week later.
Okay.
There were comments made, however, regarding the second floor not being used as a dwelling, but the condition was not made on the motion or the final decision. So
Okay, so there were no conditions with regard to the second
that's
floor.
correct.
All
And
right.
again, that was in 2018, and the calendar number was 18-112.
Super, thank you. All right, legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the Board, appellant is requesting area variances from the required rear yard and distance between buildings for requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create practical difficulty not generally shared by the land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and the granting variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning.
Great, thank you. All right. Go ahead and tell us what you want to do as it relates to the variances that you're seeking.
Okay, and I have some slides, I don't know if you made it in, but I can share my photos. Okay, so this is our,
All
this
right,
is our,
looks like we have the slides, is that right?
Madam Chair, this is Xavier Bay. I only have the floor plans and site plan. I don't have any type of presentation on here.
All right.
you can get, share these.
Yeah, if you have something to share that we didn't get. All right, you can distribute it. I have short arms.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've just, the whole idea here is just to kind of walk you through what the site looks like and what our intentions are.
Okay.
You know, the first, I guess, after the title page, it is, just a photo of the property. So it is an existing garage that was, constructed in, 2018.
This is the garage.
Yes, the green structure on the right side. Our house is on the left. So it's, what used to be 2 lots. We consolidated it,
All right.
for the garage. There is, 6 feet between the house and the garage, and then the garage is, I believe, 2 feet off the property line in the rear.
So it's 6 feet side to side wall to sidewall from the house?
Yes.
This distance here is 6 feet.
Yes.
What's the distance front to back, from the back of the house to the front of the garage?
From which distance?
From the back of the house to the front of the garage, do we have a site plan for that? Not seeing.
The site plan is scaled, I want to say it's like 12 feet, approximately.
Here,
Yes.
okay. All right, right,
So-
go ahead.
So, it is, when we constructed it, the idea was, just additional storage. We did have, you know, with the opportunity possibly in the future, to do this carriage house concept in the future, like an in-law suite, which is kind of the idea here.
All right.
We're not looking to do a rental. I mean, I guess I'd like to have the flexibility for that in the future if, you know, just for future proofing, but really the intention is to have, an office space, an in-law suite for our parents who watch their kids, or, you know, as they're aging. What else? So let me just, let's see. Okay, so let's say plan on here. We do have the windows, sites for egress. We do have a dedicated entry that can be used for the residents. And then some of the pictures here just demonstrate the distance that we have from the rear lot and from the other structures. As you can see, like the second to last slide, it shows what it looks like up there right now. It's just an unfinished open space that we have for keeping our, you know, bikes and Christmas decorations and things like that.
Okay.
I would also note that we've recently made a major investment of some solar panels, which were submitted to a lot. This is our primary residence, and they're not investors in California, and we are where we're living here.
Okay, great.
No offense to any California investors.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lowe.
Good morning, chair members. Nate Wall, Clinton City Planning. We think this is a great project. We think ADU conversions in the city are badly needed. Our zoning code, well, this fits within the use of a two-family property. Our zoning code is not flexible enough as it exists to allow the types of carriage houses or accessory dwelling units that are typically found in Cleveland already, but also nationwide. There's a movement towards allowing smaller living spaces for, again, to you know, allow for parents to live on the property or to allow for a small rental unit, supplement, you know, the owner's income. So we think this is a great project. The building's already built, it fits in really well with the neighborhood, so we have no problem.
It's a little bit structure. And what is your intent, you said, is to use as an in-law suite or as an office? You have no intent to use it for rental property, specifically short-term rental?
Definitely not short-term rental. As far as a rental property, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to say never, but at least in the immediate term, while we're raising our kids, we have no intention of that at all.
Okay, all right, great.
Also notable is I've worked from home, and I've worked from home since 2018. I would like to do my work.
Understood. Though he's doing really well. All right, we'll start with Mr. Madison with questions.
At this time, I don't have any questions, Madam Chair.
All right, excellent. Ms. Holzer?
No questions for me.
Ms. Wilson?
I'm just gonna ask you to describe, if you are not granted this variance, how would that, what kind of difficulty would you face if you don't receive the variance?
Well, I guess for one thing, full use of our properties, the areas zone multifamily, you know, and then by using that flexibility, we kind of need that opportunity to be able to have a place for that in-law suite and our the hope to be able to have space for our parents and office space and such.
All right, excellent. Ms. Roca?
Nothing from you, Madam Chair.
All right, super.
Madam Chair, I do have a letter.
All right, excellent.
This is from Matt and Michelle Zone. And their address is 1228 West 69th Street. They're writing to express their enthusiastic support for this proposal. The upper unit of this garage into a carriage house. As longtime residents of this neighborhood and the neighbors of the Matteo family, his wife Michelle and Matt Stone had the pleasure of observing firsthand the care and pride that they take in maintaining and enhancing their property. The Matteos have consistently demonstrated a strong commitment to improving the community Their attention to detail and thoughtful investment in their property not only benefit their home, but contribute to the overall quality and appeal of the neighborhood. He believes that the proposed carriage house project aligns with the character of the neighborhood and will further enhance the property's value and utility. It represents a thoughtful use of space and is in keeping with the ongoing revitalization efforts in that part of the and he fully supports the variance. Thank you.
This is Matt's own former council person?
Correct.
All right. Good. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
All right, super. Hearing nothing further, I'll entertain a motion. Go ahead, sir.
I have just one thing of note here. It wasn't in this announcement, and I just want to make sure I don't know if this needs to be discussed or not, but our plans, because the lot is so close to the rear fence, there is no space for an air conditioning unit behind there. So the plan was to put one to immediately to the south of the building. Is that
On the side, as it's reflected in the plan.
correct?
It was called out. Okay. Mr. Lowell, any issues with that?
Madam Chair, they would have to apply for a separate.
Okay. Unfortunately.
Separate zoning variance?
Just a separate permit. I'm not sure if there's a zoning review in that case. Ms. Leonard is on the line. Maybe she could explain the process.
Do you have a thought, Mr. Lowell, or do you want me to go to this one?
To the chair, I believe our zoning code states AC units are not allowed in side yards.
I think that's correct. Yes.
However, I know that's not being discussed today because it seems like it was missed on the zoning review, which is unfair to that, I believe. I don't know if the board is able to grant that, it's not listed, or just make a recommendation. This is in the rear side, so were this to come in the future for zoning variance, we would also.
All right. Okay. All right. Ms. Leonard, do you want to chime in on this officially? You heard Mr. Lowell's comment. Is she still with us?
Yes, Madam Chair, she is still online. It could be that she's having technical difficulties. I'll try to message and share.
Okay.
I did bring this up when I processed the application for this.
Mhm.
It sounded at the time that was going to be reviewed and added. I think it just got missed in the shuffle.
Okay, yeah, because it wasn't caught apparently.
Or they may not need a variance for it.
Okay, so they may not need a variance. All right. Any response?
I just sent it. Don't see any activity.
Madam Chair, the appellant could walk down to building and housing today and talk about the plans and if there's any additional variances before we ratify it next Monday.
Great, let's do that.
We could bring it back.
Yep, let's do that. Okay. All right. I'll
Madam
take
Chair, I'm
motion.
here.
Okay, great.
What is the question?
Nate, do you want to summarize it for Ms. Leonard
Uh,
for us quickly?
Yes, so essentially, on their site plan here, they're showing an AC unit in the rear half of the property, but also in the side yard essentially. And so the question is if that would require a variance or not, because I believe according to our zoning code, AC units are not allowed in side yards.
Technically.
Can you give me 1 second, please?
Absolutely.
Xavier, can you zoom in on the site plan?
Yes.
So the answer to your question is that generally speaking, AC units are not permitted in the side yard of a main building.
this property, it looks like they're proposing it in the side yard, in the rear lot, in the rear yard of where the garage is located. But without further looking at it, I don't have a good answer for you. The plant examiner that reviewed this is not here at the moment.
All right, so. Go ahead.
May I also add some detail around the AC unit? So the grade of the backyard is such that there's actually a retaining wall on that backyard, and then we have a 6-foot fence on top of it, as well as on the kind of like the side, the partial side property line, which is also has a retaining wall with again a 6-foot fence that would essentially block in this AC unit with a retaining wall plus 6-foot fence on both sides. So the AC unit, in terms of impact to neighbors, should be negligible if non-existent, because they will not even see this thing, because again, we have retaining wall plus fence on top of it.
Okay, all right, Ms. Leonard?
And yeah, the plant examiner stated that if they did not write it up for the variance, they normally do, so they probably did not need the variance when they did the review.
All right, so the variance for the AC unit was not flagged because it was deemed not necessary. So they're okay with the AC unit as it is reflected in the drawings. Is that correct then?
That is my understanding.
All right, super. That is a great understanding for us to be able to move forward. All right, super. So you're good on your AC unit. Excellent. Thanks for bringing that up so we can get you clarification. All right, want to take this?
Sure. Madam Chair, I move approval of calendar number 24-202.
Second, please. Ms. Wilson for the second. We'll call the vote.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Mr. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Olser?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Calendar number 24-202 is granted. To be ratified next Monday, we'll send you a letter, but you can contact us next Wednesday for further instructions.
Thank you all very much.
Super, thank you. Been absolutely fabulous. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. You were engrossed in the video, weren't you? I know. I hate when that happens. Right. All right, we're on to 24-203.
Our next case is calendar number 24-203. This is at 1258-1262 West 76th Street. The Shoreway Building LLC owner proposes to expand the surface parking lot in a 2-family residential district. The owner appeals relief from strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. Also a note that the applicant filed for a lot consolidation mid-review for parcels 002-03-015 and parcel 002-03-016. However, no new council number or address was provided for that consolidated lot. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Bowley. Is there anyone present for this matter in the room? All right, everyone online present. Okay, I can see your hand raised. I will go ahead and swear you all in. You swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Please raise your right hand. Reply what I do. State your name, spell your name, and give your address. I'll start with you, Jim.
Jim Cutrone, 1274 West 76th Street. My name is spelled Cutrone. I do.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll go to you next, Adam.
Yep, Adam Comer, ADAM COMER with J-Rock Development, address 469 Literary Road, Cleveland, Ohio 44113. I do.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else online wishing to speak in this matter? All right, are you speaking in this matter?
Yes.
All right, I'll go for you as well.
Nate Wall, Cleveland City Planning, 601 Lakeside. I do.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in zoning since 1929 in our Records Administration Office. We found that in 1906, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling on the address of 1258, as well as a garage addition and a store addition in 1928. For the address of 1262, a permit was issued to erect a two-story dwelling in 1907. Notes. In 1966, a permit was issued to demolish a store and suite building. That was with the address of 1258 West 76th Street. And there are no variances on file and nothing to note on worries in this time.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the Board, appellant is requesting an area variance from the off-street parking requirements of the zoning code. Board of Zoning Appeals may permit as a special exception to the location of required accessory off-street parking spaces on a separate lot if the board finds all of the following. A, that there is no way to provide such parking spaces on the same lot as the use. B, that for a permitted apartment house, such parking spaces are within 200 feet of or for any other permitted use, within 400 feet of the nearest boundary of the lot on which the use is located, measured by a straight line between the 2 points. C, that the separate lot upon which such parking spaces are provided is in the same ownership as the permitted use and is subject to deed restrictions recorded in the office of the county recorder, binding the owner, his or her heirs, and signs to maintain and provide for the required number of such parking spaces throughout the life of such use in accordance with the provisions of the zoning code. And D, that the Commissioner of Traffic, Engineering, and Parking has caused a study to be made of the proposed location and finds that safe and adequate access can be provided and that the potential traffic will not be injurious or detrimental to the adjoining streets.
That is an interesting legal standard, something we don't see very often. Great. All right. Gentlemen, who's going to be the spokesperson?
Madam Chair and members of the board, Adam Comer with J-Rock Development. I'll be the spokesperson for the project team.
Go ahead, Mr. Comer. Tell us what you want to do as it relates, if you can, directly to the variances that you're seeking.
Absolutely. So I did provide a slide deck. Looks like it's coming up now. I guess just as a quick background, J-Rock Development, we're a local Cleveland-based development firm with investment of roughly $250 million, kind of right in and around the Cleveland area. Next slide, please. Again, we're kind of a full-service development team. In addition to kind of all of the pre-development construction, project management, we also own and operate our projects long-term. So we, our whole team's kind of based here in Cleveland, and we do own and operate our assets long-term here in the city. Next slide, please. So as you know, the site location, it's in the Battery Park neighborhood, just south of Edgewater Park. You may be, the board may be aware of our Shoreway Tower project, which is located just north of the subject site that we're talking about today. This parking lot will be accessory parking for that project. So this is a site plan of the proposed parking area. The lot to date is it was previously two separate parcels that we have since consolidated. The lot was already serving as parking, and essentially that we're now kind of expanding that parking area into the consolidated larger parcel, as well as making some improvements. From a design perspective, we are adhering to all the requirements, including that 10-foot landscape buffer between the parking area and the adjacent properties to the south. So just to, I agree it is an interesting kind of legal standard, and just to kind of touch on the requirements, in working with Shannon Leonard from the zoning department, we found that basically a special exception for location for required accessory off-street parking spaces on a separate lot than the main use can be permitted, assuming that some key requirements are met, and those were described just a minute ago. If you go to the next slide, we'll kind of touch on those items. So this gives a little bit more perspective. The Shoreway Tower project that I referenced is located on the northern parcel there, 002-03-004. That parcel currently, our existing Shoreway building currently sits on the parcel, and the new project will be constructed on that same parcel as well. The southern parcel, which is now consolidated 002-03-021, just south of that property, that is where the accessory parking that we're talking about today would be located. And as you can see, both parcels are under the same ownership. Shoreway Tower LLC is the entity with ownership over those two parcels. And then just showing the distance between those two parcels, kind of lot line to lot line, is less than 120 feet. Next slide, please. So just I wanted to include a site plan for the Shoreway Tower project, which again, several members of the board may or may not have seen. We did come back through BZA for this project some time ago, but this just sort of shows that, you know, during the construction period, roughly 2 years, no parking will be available on the parcel, which is why we're here today talking about the required accessory off-street parking on the separate lot. From there, I appreciate your time and happy to answer questions as needed.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Catrone, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. Is the audio okay for you?
Yep, you sound great.
Okay, good. I won't repeat the points that I made in the letter that I sent. That's just redundant. I assume that the board has read my letter and Mr. Comer has read it. But here's the issue. Just a little history on the problem at this intersection. About 5 years ago, maybe a little bit more, we started having through traffic over a property that was not, it was against code. The property that's right next to the factory, it was a little parking lot. Previous to that, there had been a barrier at the end of that property that prevented anyone from doing that, and somehow it disappeared. So we started having traffic from that direction into the intersection, and the intersection is problematic to begin with. There are blind turns going east off of 76th on the Battery Park, and also the same situation turning from Battery Park onto 76th. So the neighborhood, the block club talked to council member Spencer. Nothing was done for several years, and then a stop sign appeared there, and that was supposed to solve the problem. Now, this is a separate issue, but probably 50% of the people that go through that intersection don't obey the stop signs, which makes it more dangerous. So I know that's beyond your control, but it's something to note. So we didn't understand how that official stop sign got there until recently. It was mentioned that there was an easement granted for the use of that property as a street without any input by the neighborhood. And if that's actually incorrect, because I don't have any paperwork on it, then the property would continue to be used against code. So now what we have So what we have here is a parking lot that's going to accommodate, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's going to accommodate the Shoreway Apartments parking, because that is eliminated by the construction of the tower. So there are going to be, I don't know how many, there are 48 units in the Shoreway apartment. It's going to increase traffic on the street and make for, I think, awkward turns. And once this property it's my understanding that they're expecting the construction to go for 2 years. So this is long-term temporary, not short-term temporary. It will be a cut-through, an extension of Battery Park Boulevard. So my point here is that there was never any solution to the issues with this intersection. The city accommodated the desires of the developer, and frankly, my apologies to some of the people who were involved in the conversations, frankly ignored the residents regarding their issues. So ultimately, what we have is, once this becomes a road through, this is of no benefit to the neighborhood in general. It's strictly a convenience for the tenants, the J-Rock tenants, and they own considerable property, it's my understanding, maybe under Shoreway LLC, but on 78th Street. So this is really a convenience for their developments and not a benefit for the city. People will have access to the amenities, to the neighborhood. They'll have access to the amenities in the neighborhood and access to the Shoreway via the underpass, but otherwise it just really becomes more of a burden for a neighborhood that's already burdened with a lot of traffic, and I might say a lot of design flaws in Battery Park layout and other things. So it's my point is that throughout the last decade or so, and maybe even before that, the voice of the residents, which has been strong. We have a strong block club, which is in the process of reorganizing, has been generally ignored regarding these projects. The Station 73, the 73rd Street apartment projects, dating all the way back to Battery Park Lofts, which was a much larger building than it was originally supposed to be.
Okay. Mr. Catrone, thank you for your statement. I'm going to cut you off there. I think we get a sense.
No, I was done. Thank you.
Okay.
I was done.
All right, great. Super. I think we get a very good sense of where you're coming from on this. And I see, Mr. Comer, you have your hand raised. Give me one moment. Ms. Kugler, do we have correspondence?
We do have the letter only from Mr. Catrone, who spoke most of his concerns.
Okay, super. Nothing from Councilwoman Spencer.
No, not that I.
All right, okay. Mr. Lull, I'm gonna go to you and then I'll go to Mr. Comer, but I'm interested to know what your perspective is on this, and do you know if there has been, I'm assuming you've been in contact with the councilwoman, and has there been public meeting on this?
Yes, good morning, board members, Dave Wall with Queens City Planning. I do want to just state for the record, the councilwoman has indicated to me that she's in support of this.
Okay.
And I'm happy to provide a copy of that to Secretary.
Yes, please.
Our understanding and our support for this project is based on a few things. So you all already seen Shoreway Power, which is going to be a residential power that's been approved by the Landmarks Commission already. It's come to this board with the variances needed to proceed.
Let me just, Mr. Madison, were you present for that? Do you recall? No, everyone else was though, right? Okay, all right, great. We'll bring you up to speed.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
An interesting thing about this property in this area is that while the development team was working on this, we were also in the process of implementing form-based code.
Right.
So this is one of the pilot areas for form-based code.
Right.
And so the majority of this property we're speaking about today actually falls into the IX3 or institutional flex 3 district. That is not reflected on the notice of non-conformance because I believe it was adjudicated before form-based code was implemented.
Right.
So they adjudicated it under the existing code. The existing code here is obviously split zone with semi-industry, general industry, and the 2-family residential parcel that they've added to the parking lot. So the majority of the property is within the semi-industry and general industry areas. Parking lots will be allowed to be used in these areas by right. You'll notice I don't think the use variance is being contested here today by the board because the property has existed as a parking lot for a long time. It's been a gravel lot. Quite frankly, it's been very unsightly as it currently exists.
Yeah.
But I say all this to conclude that we are supportive of this because we understand that this is a temporary parking lot for the residents of the Shoreway existing building so that they have parking while they construct the tower. The development team has requested a TIF from the city of Cleveland, tax increment financing on the property from the city of Cleveland. And we are currently actively coordinating that agreement with them. One of the agreements that we suggested and we encouraged them to, as planning staff, have encouraged them to explore further, which they have agreed to, is the idea of long-term making this property essentially an extension of Battery Park Boulevard, which exists to the east of this property, continues a few blocks down the street. As we've seen a lot of interest in this area throughout the years, one of the things that's been commonly done as part of the development teams come in is to work on extending that Battery Park Boulevard to improve connectivity for the neighborhood. This part of the Detroit Shoreway has really long blocks that run north-south.
Right.
So there's really limited connectivity to go east-west unless you go up to Detroit Avenue.
Yeah.
And so we see it overall as a benefit for the community long-term to dedicate this either as public right-of-way or grants the city easements to allow the public to move through here. But again, today we're talking about the parking lot as a temporary use while they construct the Shoreway Tower. We are
Okay. And what conversation has there been, if any, about traffic calming for the concerns of the neighborhood?
Yes, absolutely. There's been definitely a lot of concerns raised by the community consistently for increased traffic as a result of residential developments in the neighborhood. I will say the right of way on West 76th Street is already very conducive to traffic calming. It's a very narrow street. It's not easy to speed down West 76th. However, I understood that not everybody might follow those rules or laws.
Right.
I'm happy to continue to work with the councilwoman. Our office is happy to work with the councilwoman if there's interest in putting some sort of curb bump outs or potentially speed tables in the next phase. We'd be happy to study that further and work with her.
It seems to be that it might be in the short term, we might be able to drop some speed tables in.
If possible.
Yeah, and in the long term, let's do some curb bump outs. Because I think that would definitely enhance the calming activity there. Because that always seems to throw people off and slows them down. So let's see what we can do short term, long term. Mr. Bay?
I see Shannon Leonard also raised her hand.
Okay, Ms. Leonard?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just want to clarify the zoning and the adjudication for the record. So Mr. Law is correct that the northern portion of this parcel, which is why you have two addresses here on the adjudication is in the form-based code district, and that did pass as the application was in process of being adjudicated. At the same time as that being adjudicated, Mr. Comer's organization was consolidating the southern lot, which is where you see the bulk of the landscaping, which is that two-family parcel. And so the northern lot was a parking lot that was being expanded into this lot that used to have a home on it. It was a single or two-family home. And put the bulk of the landscaping to be landscaping compliant with parking lots. The other issue here is that even though it is a temporary lot, temporary in the city of Cleveland is 30 days, anything beyond 30 days is not considered temporary. And so this was adjudicated in a way that they were expanding this existing parking lot on record, legally established, into this other parcel at the time, which is two-family, causing the split zoning issue once they consolidated their parcels. And so because this is parking that's accessory to their apartment project to the north, it was written as, an accessory lot, and they really just need that special permission to have this accessory lot. You are more than welcome to put conditions to make it more temporary, if that's something you wish to do. But I just wanted to clarify all of the zoning issues here. The other thing to note is that there is a gate on this site plan along West 76th Street, so it is resident access. So any concerns, I know the councilman and Mr. Comer had stated there was concerns about, through traffic speeding through. So there will be a gate according to the site plan unless that's changed. But it's my understanding there was a gate for resident access so that people weren't just speeding through the parking lot.
Right, thank you, Ms. Leonard. Those are a couple of key issues. I think the board appreciates hearing that it's going to be gated and secure to residents only, and that it was in the power of the board to reduce the short-term limits of the parking lot itself. Mr. Lull, are you aware of any community meetings with regard to future plans for incorporating the parcel down the road into the infrastructure of the neighborhood?
So right now, I'm not aware of any community plan. I know that the council has raised the issue to the developer that they want to return to the community as part of their community benefits agreement. So walk through the plans for the site long term.
All right. I feel like maybe that's something that needs to happen sooner than later.
Absolutely.
And I think that might quell some concerns that particularly in light of the fact that the community is reestablishing their block club. So it would be a good opportunity to engage with them. Mr. Comer, any final comments?
Madam Chair and the board, I just to address a few of those comments. We have held several community meetings, both with Councilwoman Spencer as well as the Block Club. And just to clarify a couple things that I know Mr. Catrone, who I addressed or brought up, the sort of the impetus of actually this kind of original conversation started with an on-site meeting with Councilwoman Spencer, members of the Block Club, as well as Mr. Rob Mavick, who I believe is part of the city's engineering and streets department.
Yes.
We sort of met on site, kind of walked some of these areas where there are safety and traffic concerns, many of which Mr. Catrone mentioned. Actually, at that time is when that stop sign that was added sort of on the eastern portion of this parking lot. That actually came as a result from that meeting. So we have had, that was back in, I want to say 2022 or 2023 when we had those initial meetings. Since then, we've held a handful of other community meetings, most recently just a couple months ago with the Block Club, where we kind of walked through the Shoreway Tower project more broadly, but also this parking plan and the longer term vision of the street connector between West 76 and West 78th. Really being kind of the long-term vision and what that might look like. As Shannon mentioned, this is sort of a temporary solution, this parking lot, but it's sort of an extended temporary solution, and we understand that. Right. We were intentional about making this parking lot gated at both sides, so it does eliminate some of the safety concerns that came from this parking lot being a very To be clear, it was an unsafe cut through, so we're sort of eliminating and addressing that concern. It will be gated at the West 76 entrance only, which will also help keep all construction traffic during the construction process of the tower kind of separated from the main residential area, West 76th and eastward. All construction traffic will go down West 78th directly.
Super, thank you. All right, we'll go to the board for questions. We'll start with Ms. Rocco.
Madam Chair, yes, and to this address, Mr. Comer, did I hear you say that there will be a gate on the 78th side to prevent the cut through from happening, or no?
There will be no gate. I apologize. The gate will be on the West 76th side. The West 78th side of the parking lot will just be fenced off.
It will be fenced though. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Solid fence.
Solid fence.
Correct.
Got it. And then currently that parking lot is being used for patrons of some of the businesses there, Good Company in particular. Is that going to end?
So Good Company is a tenant of our building, and we're in regular communication with them. We anticipate there's actually a few parking spaces potentially included on the outside of the gated portion. Our hope is to be able to accommodate Good Company and provide some parking spaces for them. But those are ongoing conversations that we're having with Good Company ownership.
Okay. And approximately how long do you think you'll need this parking lot to be in place?
So the construction period for the Shoreway Tower project is 24 to 26 months. So at a minimum, that's what we're anticipating.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Super. Ms. Wilson? Okay, great. Ms. Holzer, anything?
No questions.
Mr. Madison?
No questions.
All right, super. We're just moving down the road with motions. So that falls to you, Ms. Wilson.
After that's in the testimony that we have heard, I move that we approve calendar number 24-20.
Great. Could I have a second, please?
Board Member Rogai, second.
Thank you, Ms. Rocco. All right, we'll call the vote, please. Ms. Cooper?
Mr. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Rocca?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Calendar 24-203 is granted. Be ratified next Monday. We'll send the appellant a letter, but he can contact us next Wednesday for further instruction.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We're gonna look at, Mr. Lull's gonna look at some traffic calming in the meantime. We don't want anyone plowing into the gates, okay? I think that's a safety issue even for you going forward. And that will, your gate's gonna mitigate the flow through traffic. But we'll see if we can't help that out a little bit, make sure that we don't have any unnecessary accidents. And then we'll look at getting the neighborhood involved so that they have the vision for the future. And you've got 26 months for this, so good luck. We'll look
Thank you,
forward to
Madam
seeing
Chair.
the project come to fruition.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to calendar number 24-204.
Looks like this is the last case. Our final case of the day is calendar number 24-204. This is at 1442 West 57th Street. Kate McFadden and Jeremy O'Reilly proposed to erect a two-story frame detached garage in a B1 two-family residential district. The owners appeal for relief from the strict application of the codified ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are two. With that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Wilson for you.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I will hear swear in all who are present for this matter. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? You'll raise your right hand and reply with I do. State your name, spell your name, give your address. I'll start with you.
I do. Mike McGettrick, MCG, ETT, RMCK, 14551 Madison Avenue, Lakewood, Ohio.
Thank you.
I do. Jeremy O'Reilly, JEREMY, OREILLY, 1442 West 57th Street, Cleveland, Ohio, 441.
Thank you.
Nate Wall, Cleveland Street Planning, 601 Lakeside Avenue.
Thank you. Is there anyone online wishing to speak in this matter? All right, hearing none, back to you, Madam Chair.
All right. Ms. Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found In 1907, a permit was issued for a single dwelling. 1972, permits were issued to correct violations on the property. 2023, you see in the more recent history, I'm sorry, in our Excel system, we see that in 2023, there was a permit issued for HVAC and refrigeration, plumbing, just internal alterations. There are no variances on file. That's all that happened.
Super. Would you like to go over the legal standard?
Sure. Madam Chair, members of the Board of Aldermen is requesting area variances from the maximum square footage and maximum height requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, the appellant must prove that denying the request will create practical difficulty not generally shared by the land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. The granting of variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning.
Greg?
Consent.
I would love for you to start.
Perfect.
I've been waiting all morning. for you to start.
Good morning, everyone. Just to give some history of this property, Jeremy and his wife purchased it in 2019. And
Pre-COVID.
just before. And so we went through and did a complete renovation in and out to the home. And it's a beautiful house now. Unfortunately, the old basement from the 1910 portion of the property is not a reliable area for storage. And so we kind of pivoted. We had submitted previously, which was approved with the original design of the house, a single-story garage. And once we realized that the basement would not be adequate for this storage, we pivoted and presented this, the rendition of the garage, which allows us to have dry safe storage above the first floor garage.
Okay. Is the basement even a cement floor?
It is, well,
Is
we
it?
put it in, but
put it in.
the drainage is not the best. We've done tons to try to rectify this issue, and it's just,
Yeah, it was an old dirt cellar, right?
yes,
Yeah,
that was dug out actually.
yeah, that was dug out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, super. Anything to add, sir? Okay, all right, we'll go to Mr. Lowe.
I'm chairman of the board, they all in the city planning. I don't think we have a strong opinion on this one. We don't see an issue with the proposal. I think the garage is contextual with the house and fits within the neighborhood pretty well.
Yep, I would agree. All right. Mr. Bay, you're nodding your head, anything?
I don't have anything to
Oh,
add.
you're just in agreement, okay, all right, cool. All right, any correspondence, Ms. Gupon?
No, we do not have any.
All right, any questions, board? All
Madam
right,
Chair, I just want to ask the appellant what difficulty you will face if your variances are not granted today.
We would not be able to have proper storage for this home that we've definitely put a significant investment. It's better.
and what are we intending to store up there? Basic stuff,
Yeah.
okay, so it's just gonna be set up with shelving, that kind of thing. Are you heating? Are you gonna do HVAC up there?
It's gonna be some.
Yes, it's gonna be
Yeah.
temporary storage.
Temperate storage, okay, all right.
And for your first variance, the garage is just slightly larger than it needs to be for that code.
Yeah, just
Right.
to have the enclosed staircase added that
Yeah.
extra square footage to it.
Then your height difference is minimal. All right, super. Anything else? Lovely, Ms. Roca, motion falls to you this time.
Sure, Madam Chair, based on the testimony that we've heard today, I move that we approve calendar number 24-204.
Second, please.
Or second.
Don't everyone jump at once. Somebody made a second. I don't know who buzzed in first. Okay, all right, great.
Mr. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Rhoda?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Yes,
Calendar number 24-204 is granted. It will be ratified next Monday. We will send the appellant a letter, but he can contact us next Wednesday for further instruction.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for spending the morning with us.
You bet, it was a pleasure. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Good meeting.
Well, it's a pleasure having you. We love when the city planners show up. Paperwork.
I'll. So you can.
All right, on to old business.
My last class in CSU.
Okay, old business folks. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8.
No objection.
Lovely, thank you. You want to go over the items at the bottom?
Madam Chair, the affirmation is typical affirmation, calendar number 24-036 for 1695 Radford Avenue. This, I'm not sure if we've heard this one before, but it's interesting. The appellant stated that the work came in over budget when they started to build out or consider building out the interior. So they are redesigning the interior, but not, the exterior, everything should stay the same regarding the variance. So they need additional time.
All right, that happens more frequently than people realize. So, yes, thank you. Without objection, everyone else?
No objection.
Super, thanks. And the next item?
And you may have seen this in the news, Madam Chair, calendar number 22-213 regarding 4100 Franklin Boulevard. For Metropolitan Ministry, request to renovate existing legal non-conforming charitable institution to change use or add use as a drop-in and care center for teens and adults. The board granted the variance and the Board of Common Pleas has overturned that decision.
Okay, everyone remember this case? Well, not everyone. You weren't here, Marcus.
Yes.
Were you not here either? No, this was,
Franklin.
on Franklin, yeah, Miss Roca remembers it well.
It's right around the corner from my house, so.
Pardon?
Right around the corner from my house. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's where it sits.
So building and housing has been given copies. I'm sure there'll be discussion about what happens next. I believe that it's just goes back to building and housing. I don't think there's anything we need to do with it.
No, not at this point. All right, that brings us to December 16th. Do we have anyone absent?
So the thing with first, the decision to do that is clearly getting for does it stand?
It's for them, it stands unless they do something. Yeah. So we, at this particular point in time, we don't take any action.
I would go through the regular procedural process.
Yeah.
Or precedent. Court jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Can't speak today.
All right, so 16th, anybody absent?
I'll be here.
Yay, we need you. All right, and no recusals? Lovely. All right, we're adjourned.